going on?
What a perfect time to be doing a stream.
I know,
Just as
right?
we just as we bust through this supply. I'll be the first one to say I didn't think we'd sort of run up this aggressively. 9.5 looked like a pretty reasonable area, potentially 9.6 to pull back. Looking, this is ridiculous. Looking at this in a couple of different ways, and as we kind of described and spoke about inside the inner circle today, where we are right now, there are going to be so many FOMO longers at this point. It's a tricky one because as we get to this sort of point, this would be a phenomenal place to just absolutely rip the rug and destroy the late longers and head back down towards that overall trend line, maybe around 9.35 to 9.4. But where this is running right now, this is very much looking like we'll tap 10 here. Nine sort of 8 was my last sort of value area, looking at our fixed range from, I believe we had a fixed range from here to here, and 9.8 was really going to be a sort of a high value area.
Mm.
So looking to see what happens around here. We know after sustained pushes like this, we can't just continue going up. But one thing I do want to look at, and I mentioned this about 45 minutes ago, or maybe an hour ago, if we go to the daily real quick ads,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we were sitting at about 9.5 or 9.6. And as I said, this looks like a three white soldiers pattern, and it's really being confirmed here because we know that the first one needs to be engulfed by the second, which needs to be twice as long as the body of the first one. And then the third candle, as we know, needs to be the same length as the second candle to validate this three white soldiers formation. So a very, very bullish formation on the daily time frame. We've still got a little bit of room to run by the looks of it here on our CCI and our RSI, getting a little concerning in terms of how high we are towards the end of this parallel channel. A little bit of declining volume, steamroller giving us a pretty oversold condition as it did here before this drop.
Yep.
Not saying that's going to be the case, but I'm saying I think it's going to be a late night.
Yeah, absolutely, Ty. It's very much looking like we're going to see this supply get tested once more. So if I just make way out of this and this because they're gone, if we bring it right back to our daily here, like we were looking at, these levels of supply look like it's going to probably be the target back at 10. We're at 9.9 now, so yeah, it's moving up as we speak. But that's where I think we're going to test first, and we'll see what sort of structure we make when we get there.
Yeah, interesting times. Yeah, what do you do right now? You just sit down and you kind of wait. Looking at this sort of V bottom that we have looks very reminiscent of the V bottom that we had after that big drop beforehand. So it could be a bit of a fractal sort of on a smaller time frame playing out at the minute. We are obviously, with a run like this, we are due for some sort of pullback at a point. We cannot have a sustained run like this without a healthy correction. How healthy that will be, this is a prime time post halving to wreck a lot of longers, to wreck a lot of shorters. We know there probably would have been a lot of people shorting resistance at 9.5. Probably would have been a lot of people shorting demand at 7.7. So just really need to sit on our hands right now and play the market as we see it.
In the grand scheme of things, in my opinion, I do still think you are right, Ty. It does need some form of correction. Things just don't go up forever. Let's put that in perspective and let's keep that in mind. After having a phenomenal run from this bottom demand zone to here, we're at 164%. With only a 16 or 20% pullback and a few bits and pieces along the way. I think you're correct. I think there's going to have to be something more substantial because this sort of action here, we were very, very high up in steamroller. Same with RSI, we're still on the higher side of things with CCI giving us a little bit more data there. If I pull that up a little bit further and give you a bit more perspective, we're still coming down on the CCI. We are making a bit of a turn, but we need to see how this candle closes, how this day closes to see where we're going to finish there on the CCI. But I do think that we'll probably get to this supply eventually over the next couple of hours, if not overnight. But I think there will be a crucial decision made after that.
Yeah, 100%. So let's just play and see what happens at the moment. Happy to be in a trade at the moment, on the right side of this trade at the moment. And as we sort of said before, and we touched on this on Tuesday night, talking about miners capitulating as the price of mining Bitcoin becomes a lot harder over the last week. So, that very much could have been attributed to, obviously, let's not lie, there's manipulation in this market, but that sell-off could have been due to miners capitulating and selling back into USDT or USD and getting out of it and closing down their mining operations. The bigger guys are going to be the ones that flourish in this particular market here, but it certainly is a very bullish catalyst to continue pushing this higher. But as Ad said, this is really going to become the battleground here. And if we can same thing again. We might have a blow off top and then head back down, kind of as we had suspected with the halving coming through. I was expecting sort of 10-2. We got a 10-1. So it could be very much a similar sort of thing here. I really want to see us make a higher high here. That would be really bullish. So let's see what happens.
Look, taking in all that data on the daily, obviously we need to keep our wits about us and don't jump on that hype train. We need to just try and think as clearly as possible.
Yeah, said that this morning. If we break 9.5, this is a little bit of an exceptional circumstance, but we said do not FOMO into any longs after 9.5. So, same thing goes again. Don't FOMO into anything. This is a FOMO rally. This is not a sustained push, I don't think. So let's just see what happens. Let's go to ETHUSD ads.
ETHUSD coming up for you, bro.
Very quickly too, just one thing that you will notice quite a fair bit when BTC lately has these little moments where we are ranging mostly on the 4 hour, because you can't really see it on the daily. Look to what alts are doing, because when alts are running, BTC is likely moving up slower. But one thing that sort of got my alarm, it's almost like the I don't even know what sort of example you would use, but when you start to see the alts pull back pretty quickly in unison, aggressively, as we sort of saw before this run commenced earlier today, that's almost like a bit of a sign to me to say, hey, people are selling out of alts and they're probably running back into BTC, meaning that a potential run could be imminent. So pay attention. If you start seeing alts run again, then we know that BTC might be having a little bit of a blow off. If you see things pull aggressively from the alts when BTC is ranging, it probably could be a sign that an upcoming run might be happening.
With Euro, excuse me, we were just talking about Forex. But no, with Ethereum Thai, we're looking towards this level of supply here, where we've got this major structure here to the left, which formed that perfect supply level just above us, and looking towards that now. But just drawing in this trend line, Thai, following this price action up, this recent dump here, we did break that trend line quite aggressively, and a few times, obviously. But are we going to see a retest before a further move down, or are we going to break back within that trend?
Yeah, and I'm still of the mind that ETH just hasn't seen its time yet. BTC would usually, or ETH, I suppose, would usually give you an understanding of whether alts and BTC might be running, but it's kind of BTC leading the pack at the moment. And I still think, and we've been talking about this for the last week and a bit, I still think that 212, 213 mark, where you've got your supply zone, is where we are headed. I'm looking for 212. I'm in a long position at the moment, looking for 212. So let's just sort of see what happens around there. But the structure that ETH is making, this is really nice. This is not an overly bearish sort of structure. So I really want to see what happens around this 215 mark. If we can make a higher high and then continue up towards this next demand zone, supply zone rather, around 240. But I really think that ETH just hasn't had its time yet, and it really needs to go on a bit of a stupid run, like what we kind of saw here to the left-hand side. That's me being biased towards ETH, but I certainly think that there's a lot more in ETH this year.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you. So I really really like to see Ethereum get back up to, that 240 supply level and test those levels again. So yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah, it's just been a really, really nice coin to trade. It respects the TA quite nicely. It's pretty sort of simplistic. I probably find myself trading it on BitMEX a little bit more than what I do BTC as of late. And yeah, it's just a pleasure to trade. It's a really, very nice coin to trade.
Perfect.
All right, let's have a look at XRP USD.
XRP USD not in the same sort of position that we're seeing the other ones, but the volume is fantastic, and it always is fantastic. It has been for since Feb, since the start of the year. The volume's been pretty consistent.
It's been consistently high.
Yeah, but in any case, we did reject on this level of supply, like we did see on BTC as well, and giving us that dump. But unlike the other two, we did make it to the next level of demand, where we did push straight off that at around the 18 cent mark, and are starting to make that same structure to the upside, although not as aggressively as the other two type.
Yeah, so again, XRP usually lags behind BTC. It's not having the sort of the same moves as BTC lately, as because I think that looking at the BTC dominance rising at the moment, more people are trading that than any other coin and pulling out of other pairs to put into BTC. So yeah, XRP not one I've been trading actively myself, but consistently a nice amount of volume. So for myself, BTC and ETH are really taking my focus at the moment, and then I'm occasionally in and out of some of the alt pairs, the BTC alt pairs, when BTC stabilizes. So interesting to see what comes tonight in particular. I did say yesterday that Thursday was going to be a very interesting day, as it has been the last few weeks. We seem to have scam wicks on weekends. Monday, Tuesday, typically where we would see quite a fair bit of price action, has sort of fizzled a little bit as of late. Monday's usually good for a little bit of a push, but Wednesday evenings and Thursdays tend to be where the real action is sort of midweek lately. So very interesting to see what happens if we sort of just flutter out a little bit now and start flopping around a little bit for the weekend. Time will tell. So again, yeah, going to be a late night for us inside Discord.
Absolutely, we'll all be there. But just one last thing. Let's just, before we jump on the hype train for BTC and say outlandish things, let's just bear in mind and bring everyone back down to earth. There is 2 levels of supply that we need to break through. There is previous structure here to the left. There is still structure here. And I just want to highlight something, sorry Ty, before we head off, is that if we bring up this market structure indicator made by one of the guys in the Discord, Eric, thank you for this. We've made higher high and a higher low, which is great. We made another higher high at 10, which is also great. But we printed our first lower low just on the 10th of May. If you just take notice of when we've done that since 13th of March, we have not done that yet. This is the first lower low printed. So, reiterating what I said earlier in the Discord, and I'll say it again now, higher high, lower low. We need to break past this higher high to make another higher high to continue up. If we do not do that, this becomes a lower high, which completes, not completes, but indicates to me that this could still further be a reversal. So let's just wait for some confirmation. There's still 13 and a half hours left on this daily candle. So let's not let this get the best of us. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, and let's wait for some confirmation to be sure that we're, making or even going to start tapping into this sort of structure just above us.
Come on, ads. Don't be like that. Don't deflate our balloons. What about the moon mission?
Come on, bro.
Come on, man. Hype this train. Let's go.
I'm a realist, man. I'm sorry.
Hey, what a downer. Sorry, everyone. I'm sorry for Adam tonight, guys. Sorry about that. I totally agree. And my only thought on that is that looking at potential minor capitulation could have been the reason for that lower low. But looking at that from a structure standpoint, yeah, absolutely a lower low. That's where we sort of said 8.2 is certainly a level of interest. If we can't make a higher high here, we might see a pretty decent pullback. Looking at our fib levels now, 8.6 is certainly something I'll be paying attention to if we can't break ahead and make a higher high. So the next 24 hours will be very, very interesting. The next 13 hours will be very, very interesting. Look for that higher high. Look for that break above previous structure, and certainly a break into this demand and piercing it would be very favorable for a continuation of this bullish momentum. But don't go FOMO longing anything just yet.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Very quickly, in the next week or so, or the next few days, hopefully we'll be releasing our podcast episode 8 of the Trade Hacker podcast with Zoran Cole, where he actually sat down with us for 30 minutes over a live Zoom video where we broke down his $1 million ETH trade. Had $250,000 in fees on that trade, but took away just under $1 million on that trade in 2019. An absolute Ichimoku beast, a really, really knowledgeable and just an absolutely lovely guy, a real gentleman. So that was a real pleasure to record that episode a little while ago. So we'll have that all edited and sent through for confirmation from him today, and hopefully in the next few days we'll have that ready to release for you. We're really looking forward to releasing that episode for you guys.
Yeah, it was quite a good one. So and hope you guys enjoy the listen.
100%. All right. In the meantime, you can head to unitytradinggroup.com and come over and trade with us free inside the Discord, and really look forward to seeing you next Thursday night.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys. Bye-bye.